Welcome back. My name is John Renslow. I am a PGA club professional and your golf answer man in this world of golf. I get questions all the time about every topic you can think of in this game, and it is my joy, my pleasure to be able to answer them for you because we just want to be more comfortable out there, whether we're trying to get a raise with our boss or we're trying to make a real estate deal. Maybe we just want to get some exercise, whatever it might be. We just want to be able to get some more information that's going to help us have more fun out there. Now, for those of you who would like to play competitively, might be too strong, but even if a couple of buddies go out or you go play with the seniors or at your club or whatever, they're going to have an event. And in order to make it fair for different skill levels for different players, then you're going to need to have a so-called handicap. And the governing body of golf in the United States is called the United States Golf Association, the amateur governing body of golf in the country. And that is who you need to have your handicap through, because that's the legitimate one. There are other sources out there that will say that they can give you an index or a handicap or what have you. That's fine if you're just playing, yuck with the buddies or whatever. But if you want to play in the ladies invitational or the men's invitational or in the club championship or some type of net event or what have you, you need the official handicap system is GIN, and that is the United States Golf Association. Now, they've, again, broken up the country into associations or sections. Typically it's by state. Sometimes the larger states will have two, like California. I mentioned that in a previous video. There's Northern California, Southern California. Nonetheless, through your home club, through your local course, or sometimes through different groups, whether it's an industry, sometimes ethnic groups, whatever it might be, you can develop. There are other clubs as well as the golf course that's local to you, but generally that's the best way to do it, is to join through your local club. Cost-wise, you're looking probably anywhere from $40 to $140, but it's going to be based on what you get back. Because some clubs will say, well, gee, we're going to have trophies for the end of the year. Or some of this money goes in a bucket, and we're going to send the top 4 players on a vacation someplace. I don't know. But it's somewhere between 40 to 150 bucks, something like that. And it depends on what you're going to get in return is why that dollar amount is going to be different. So anyway, join as soon as you get done watching this video. Go join. Or soon, because you need one. You're going to need one of these to be able to talk the game and to be involved in things. If you don't have one, you're going to miss out 100%. Not only are you going to miss out on the ability to play competitively at your own club, but you might miss out because someone's going to invite you to an event and they're going to say, well, do you have a GIN? Do you have a handicap? And you're going to go, no. And they're going to go, well, you have to have one. In order for us to be able to play, you got to have one. So anyway, go get one. Go down to your local course. Email address is how you're identified for the most part. And then again, through that email address, you're going to get a so-called GIN number. You're going to have an app on your phone. This will be another video. I'm going to talk you all the way through this one too. You're going to have an app on your phone. Blue. It says GIN. G-H-I-N. Golf Handicap Information Network. And that's going to be the way you post scores. You're going to pop in there. You're going to say, I'm playing A, B, C Country Club. Or maybe you're playing the Hills. The Hills. Golf course. Okay. Not everything called a country club is really a private club, but we won't go into that today. That's the topic for another day. But we're just going to call this is your better golf course, ABC Country Club. This is your average golf course. It's called the Hills. So not only are 2 individual golfers not the same, but 2 individual golf courses are not the same. In fact, the reality is even ABC Country Club likely has between 3 to 4 to 5 golf courses within the one property, because every set of tees that you play from is a different golf course in the mind of the handicap system. Same thing goes for the Hills. You might have black tees, blue tees, red tees, green tees, brown tees, yellow tees, whatever the tees might be colored, then each one of those is going to have its own rating. We'll talk about that shortly. It's going to have a course rating and a slope rating. Here's how this works. Again, we're trying to keep this simple. We're going to call this the average golf course. And it's going to have a slope rating of 113, because through the system, we're not going to go into why this number exists, but we're using it today, or we're talking about and communicating this today because it truly is the average golf course. The neutral number in this establishment of a so-called slope rating is 113. So ABC Country Club, and we're going to call this the white tees. White tees, 113. White tees, because at most golf courses, the white tee is the middle. It's your center set of tees. Well, this one might be 120. And that makes it more difficult. This is known as your slope rating. Another rating, and if you see your scorecard, take a look at your scorecard, and every set of tees that's on that card, again, it likely goes something like black, blue, white. Then you get some changes here, maybe green or gold, and then typically the forward set of tees is a red set of tees. We oftentimes, well, they're just simply known as forward tees and back tees as far as your black and your red, but anyway. So this is your so-called slope rating, and that again is going to be based more on the player of these golf courses. And then you also have a thing called a course rating. And you're going to see something that looks like a par number. It's going to be close to it most of the time, but it's going to have a digit behind it, 72.2 or 68.9. So similarly to the way the slope rating has this base of 113, and as you get higher, it's going to be more, it's representing a more difficult and more challenging golf course. Then you also have the same thing with this course rating. So 68.9, that means that 72.2 is going to be your more challenging golf course as far as the rating goes. Generally speaking, a golf course is going to be rated, not rated, rated by a group of people that come out from the association, from your section. So again, whether that's Northern California or Rhode Island or Oklahoma or whatever, whatever place you're at, that group is going to be run by the state organization that's, again, working with the USGA, and they have volunteers that will come out, and they will spend most of the morning, this is just the typical scenario, they're going to take the morning. They've all got a clipboard and a piece of paper, and it's got a bunch of information there about your golf course. How long is the golf course? And again, each one's different. Black tees, blue tees, green tees, everything like that. How wide are your fairways? How many bunkers do you have? How many dog legs do you have? How tall are the trees? How tall is the rough? All of those different things go into a number that's going to help be a part of a daily rating for that course to arrive at these 120s, again, as far as slope, and 72.2 as far as your course rating. So then they come in and they have lunch. Then they go out and they play. So the morning is kind of a data day, and then you've got the afternoon, which is taking the data. They get to have some fun out there too, but then they can really kind of see for themselves how all these different things come into play or come to practice. And then you've got these ratings that are designed or developed from each set of tees. Now, every time you play, let's say again, we're the average guy, average girl, whatever, and we're just going to keep this really, really simple, just to make it work. We're going to shoot 100. That's our score. Okay? That's our score. We got 100. What we do is we take the 100 and subtract the course that you played, 72.2, and we're going to end up with what? Is that 27.8? That is a so-called differential. And this is where, again, it makes more sense now, because you come down here and you shoot 100, and this becomes a greater number. This differential becomes greater. These differential, let's do it just so we know we can get our math here. So what's that? 31.1. Makes sense to me. Differential. Okay. These differentials, and that's why it's so important that when you play and you post a score, you're showing on your app, it's going to say which golf course, what's the name of the golf course that you played, what set of tees did you play, because then your score and this number are going to come up with a differential. They're going to take, when you just start out, you're not going to have a so-called index, because all this math, okay, when it comes down to it, for Mr. or Mrs., fun player, let's just say you've played X amount of rounds and you've got this average. We're just going to call it the same number, this 27.8. Because every time you play, you're going to have a differential. The very first time that you play, you're not going to necessarily be given a so-called index. It takes a little bit of time for this to happen. They need three 18-hole rounds of golf or 6 9-hole rounds of golf to be able to give you this so-called index. GIN and index. Now, when you have this 27.8, every single golf course that you play is going to be able to convert this number into an actual handicap, course handicap that you will use on that day. So if we go to ABC Country Club up here, that 27.8 might turn in to an actual handicap of 29, because you're going to need 29 shots on that day to compete with the scratch player. Now, if we go down here with the same 27.8 index, you might remember this golf course is a bit easier. It's not as difficult, so we're not going to need 29 shots. Maybe our 27.8 converts to a 27. So all the golf courses you play and you're posting scores, and again, you're going to need at least 3 to have an index. The system will create an index for you. And then every time you play, the average, or the number of golf courses, the number of rounds that you play, just becomes greater and greater and greater until you get to 20. As soon as you play 20, the last place you played course now becomes 21. That one's going to drop off, and the first one the most recent one is going to go in. So it's going to take your last 20 scores that you've made, and the low 8 of those scores is what's going to help create this so-called index. So it's important at this point to note that a GIN index number and a so-called handicap that it converts to is not your average score. Remember that they're taking the low 8 of your last 20 scores. That's what's going to create this number. So if it's the low of 8 of 20, that's not your average day. That is what you're capable of playing. And that's really what this number is all about. This so-called GIN that converts to a course handicap is about you and what you're capable of, and not what you do on an average daily basis. It's a great system. It's been worked on for years. I think several years ago, the different organizations around the world, because we talked about the United States Golf Association. You also have the so-called Royal and Ancient, which is in the UK. You had Japan, Asia, and you had Africa. You had these different places that all had their own systems. That all came together several years ago in what they developed called the World Handicap System. And that's what we're all a part of now, the World Handicap System. You can play from the white tees. Your buddy can play from the blue tees. It doesn't matter. That system will create the handicap from each set of tees, and you can play this competitive round with other people and have it be fair. So a bit more information as far as GIN, as far as an index, how they're created, and how you will convert the index that you have after those 3 scores into a course handicap for that day. And again, the goal of this whole thing is so that it doesn't matter what skill levels we're talking about, it's going to make a level playing field, for the lack of a better phrase, between you and another player, or between you and the field. So go get an index, go to your local club, go get a GIN number, post some scores, and you're going to have an index that will convert to a handicap and make it fair at every golf course you play. If you have any questions with this great game, have them down below or in the comment section, and I will likely make a video about your question, because if you're asking it, everybody else does too. So have a great day and enjoy that next round of golf.